Alright, so here's the next video of the PBL series, and I'll be covering more of P, S, and K perm algs and how to use them. So I think these algs are very important and they can be used to solve a lot of bad PBL cases, and they also cover a pretty big percentage of the PBL cases with parity on top and bottom. So I guess I'll go over the algs first. So we got SS. So for these algs, keep in mind that the blocks of the top and bottom layer have to be opposite from each other, otherwise you can't actually do the alg for it. So for S perms, they're pretty simple. You just hold the blocks to the left, and of course they have to have opposite alignments, one aligned, one's not. So this one's misaligned, this one's aligned for this case. But what you do here for the alg is slice, you move them both to the left, slice, you move the aligned layer back, you do an M2, and then you move the misaligned layer back, and then you do slice, and that solves it. And here's the other case with the misaligned on bottom. This one's pretty similar. Slice, UD prime, slice, move the aligned layer back, M2, move the misaligned layer back, slice. So these are pretty nice 5 slice algs. So next there's KK, of course. They have to have opposite misalignments, and the highlights are always going to be in the back for these cases. So these, there's no like easy shortcut like the S perms to remember. There's just an alg for it, but it's 5 slices, so it's not that long. So here's this one. And for this K perm, with misaligned on top, you would use this one. All the algs will be in the description. So next there's P perms with S and K. So there are a ton of these algs and tons of cases, so I'll show you how I group them. So if you hold the P perm with a block on the left, you can see the block, there's a big block. It could be either in the back or the front. And of course, like S or K, the block alignment could be either aligned or misaligned. So what I do is I associate two of them together. So I associate the back with misaligned and front with aligned. So pretty much if I get a case with the block in the back and it being misaligned, I would say it's a good PS. And if it's in the front and aligned, I'll also call it a good PS. And if it's not like that, for example, block in the back and aligned, I would call it a bad PS. So first off, before I go into these P perms, I'm gonna first show you JN. So this one's pretty simple. You should already know this obviously. So we're gonna move a layer back and forth and slice in between. For VF, it should be pretty familiar as well. Moving both layers back and forth. So basically all the P perm algs, they're gonna be a combination of JN and the VF alg. So we're gonna move half of it back and forth with one layer, and half of it you're gonna move it back and forth with both layers. So knowing this concept is gonna make learning these algs a lot easier. So first off, I'll start with the PS cases that are good. So the way you do all of these cases is you hold the P to the left with the block on the left, and then you would hold the S with the blocks to the left as well. So for good PS, you're going to start like a JN and end like a VF. So that's for all the cases. So for the first one, we have this one with the S misaligned. And if the S is misaligned, you're gonna move the layer towards the big block. So that's what you need to remember. So this is the first one. So again, it starts like a JN and like a VF. So we're moving the layer towards the big bar. And ending like a VF. Next one is this one. It's also misaligned, so we're going to move the layer towards the big block here. So it's like a JN, transitions into a VF kind of alg, and that solves that. These are also good PS cases, but you're going to notice that it's going to be aligned blocks for the S. So this one, you're going to go away from the big block. Away. So it's a JN and then goes into a VF. Final case it's flipped, but the same concept. It's going to be aligned layer for the S. You're going to have to move it away from the big block for the P. I'm going to start as a JN. Then I'm going to transition into VF. So here's the rest of the PS cases, and these are the bad ones. So you're going to notice the blocks in front and it's misaligned, and the blocks in back and it's aligned. So the way you're going to hold this is very similar for the P perm. So you're going to hold it with the block on the left. That's the same thing as before. The block is going to be a bit different. If it's misaligned, you're going to hold them both in front. If it's aligned, you're going to hold both of them in the back. For the direction of which way you would move the layer, it's the exact same as before. Also, for all these cases, you're going to do the VF first and then the JN part of the ALG. So we'll start with this one. S misaligned, we're going to hold in front, and we're going to do the VF first, go towards the big block, and then finish off with JN. Next, this one, misaligned, so it's the blocks are in front for the S, go towards the big block of the P with the VF, and then continue with the JN. For this one, it's aligned, so the block's in back for the S. I'm gonna go away from this big P block with the VF part, and then continue with the JN. Finally, this one, it is aligned and they're in the back for the S. P block is here, so I have to go away from it that way with the VF. And continue with JN. So next is PK. I think these are much more annoying, but the concept is exactly the same. So the grouping is also the same. There's good and bad. So I'm gonna go over the good ones first. So for all the good ones, you're gonna hold the K block to the left, like this, and like this. For the P, it's gonna be a bit weird. If you align it, the P should be in the back, like this. If it's misaligned, the P should be in the front, the big block. Also, the way you move the layer is also different. Since you don't have this big block from the P perm, you're actually gonna use the block from the K. So if the alignment of the K is aligned, you're going to move the layer towards this block from the K. So if it's misaligned, you're going to move it the other way, away from the big block of the K. Alright, starting with this one, PK. You're going to start with all of these with JN and then go into VF. So same thing as that, PS. So first one, this one, JN first, and we're gonna go towards these blocks, and VF. This one, go towards these blocks with JN, and continue with VF. Now the P block should be in front, since it's going to be misaligned, and we're going to go away from the misaligned block, so that way with JN, and then continue with VF. Lastly, this one, again, the block's going to be in the front, and we're going to go away from these blocks since it's misaligned with JN, finish off with VF. So lastly, there are bad PKs. So for all of these, you're going to hold the P big block to the right, like this. And for the other block, if it's aligned, you're going to hold it in front. If it's misaligned, you hold it in back. So this is going to be like, kind of like the opposite of the PS cases. So the way you move the layers, you're going to move it away from this big P block if it's aligned. If it's misaligned, like this, you can move it towards the big P block. Alright, so first case is this one. So all these we're gonna of course start with the VF and then go into the JN. So this one, I'm gonna go away from this block with VF, that way, and finish off with JN. So this one, same thing but flipped. Go away from this block, so that direction with the VF, and continue with JN. Next one is this one. This is going to be misaligned, so it's in the back. This big P block is still on the right. I'm going to go towards this P block, so this direction with the VF, and continue with JN. So lastly for this one, the blocks are in the back of course since it's misaligned, and then we have the big P block on the right. We're going to go towards the big P block with the VF, and finish off with JN. So those are pretty much the algs for PS and PK. There are a ton of them, I think 16. All the algs will be in the description, but using these tips I think it should be pretty easy to remember. Applications of PS and K perms are pretty simple. So if you do 2 CP algs, you can sometimes solve the whole PBL. Something like this, got AA. If you do a JJ perm, and then our JJ perm, you can solve the whole cube. So pretty much what it is a JJ setup into a JJ. But that doesn't work for cases where you have parity on both top and bottom layers. So this is when this method comes in. So if you get something like this, M, Adj, pretty bad case normally. But with this method it's pretty simple. You're going to do a CP setup first, followed by one of the cases I showed you before. So something like a PS. And that solves the whole case. So most of the rest of this video is going to be showing you how to set up each parity case into P, S, or K, and showing you the alignment as well, because it's very important to predict where the alignment's going to be. And also, since for S, S, and KK they have to have opposite alignments, so knowing the alignments and predicting them is very important. So first off, I'll go with adjacent, should be very familiar. So to get into P, first of all, you would hold it front right, and you have this edge right next to the slice. So you're not going to break it up or anything, but you're going to hold it right next to it. JJ from here gets you P with block in the back. If you hold it so the adjacent is like this, to the left of the slice, well again, you're not going to separate the edges. You're going to preserve them and slice right next to adjacent. You would get PP with the block in the front. For getting adjacent into K, you're going to hold them in the back, but you are going to separate them like this. So not like this preserving them, but we're going to separate the edges from the adjacent. So JJ from here gets you KK with aligned blocks. If you hold it so that you misalign them and you separate them in the back, JJ, you also get KK but with misaligned pieces. Lastly, for S, for getting Adj into S, you would use an M perm, so something like this. So whatever alignment you hold it in, that's what the blocks are going to be like. So for example, like this, you're going to have the blocks aligned since I aligned a layer. But if I misalign the layers like this, and do the NN, I'll get misaligned blocks for the S. So next there's opposites. These kind of suck because there's only one way to do them, and it's to get them to P. So if you hold them left to right and you align them and do the JJ, you get P with block in front. If you misalign them, do JJ, you get P with block in back. So that's pretty much the only way to do them. Fortunately, there's no good way to get them into S or K. So next is PJ. This is actually a pretty nice case. So for getting into P, you would hold the block like this, headlights to the right, and hold the block to the right, and put the corner here, and it's, as you can see, the slice is dividing the block in front and the corner. From here, you would just do JJ to get the block in the back for the P perm. If you do this the other way, from the left, again you want to have the slice separate the corner and the block. JJ, you get the P perm again with the block in the front. Next, for getting to S perm, it's also pretty simple. You just hold the headlights in front and then do JJ and you get S. So whatever alignment you have it in is what blocks the S would be in. So as you can see, it's aligned because I aligned it. If you misalign it, highlights in front, of course, you're gonna get misaligned blocks. For getting into K, the only way to do this is just to do the NN. So same concept. If you align it, you're gonna get aligned blocks. If you misalign the N, you get misaligned blocks. So next there's PN. This is also a pretty bad case. You're gonna hold the corner that's isolated to the right, and you're gonna hold it so that's not next to the slice, but like one edge away from the slice. From here, if you hold it to the right, JJ gives you a P with the block in front. If you hold it to the left, and again, you don't want it to touch the slice like this, but rather be one edge turn away from the slice, JJ from here, use the P with the block in the back. So next is S. So for S, getting into P is pretty simple. If it's solid and aligned, you would hold them to the left and do JJ from here. So both blocks to the left, JJ. You get P with the block in the back. If it's misaligned, hold it to the right, like this, JJ from here. You get P with block in the front. Lastly, you can also get into K. So for getting into K, you have to hold it so that there's no blocks in the front showing at all, like this, or like this. What you would do is you would align it so that the opposite pieces, the green and the blue, are together in the slice and won't get separated, like this. So something like this would work. JJ, and you get S. So this would work because the opposites are together. If you break them up, that won't work. So if you do JJ from here, you would get the block alignment of the K opposite that of what you're holding it like. So this is misaligned and you would get aligned. So here's another case. This one's misaligned, but it's done the same way. I'll do it this way this time. Front, there's no blocks. And make sure you're preserving the opposite pair, JJ. And you get K, and as you notice, I had it aligned. And that gives the opposite K perm with misaligned blocks. So next there's K. This is pretty simple. For getting it into P, you would hold the block in front and highlight on the side. Something like this would work. Something like this would not work, but because you want the block to be in here in the front. Something like this. Preserve the blocks and then do JJ. And that gives you P. If it's misaligned like this, you're going to get P with the block in the front. If it's aligned like this and you hold them in front, you would get P with the block in the back. Next, for getting into S, you would hold the highlights in front, obviously. And from here, you can just do JJ with the blocks preserved. And you would get SS with the blocks in the same preservation. But if you don't preserve the blocks, something like this, and you would break them up like this, and do JJ, you would still get an S perm, but the blocks are going to be opposite alignment of what you had them in. So the idea is do JJ from here, aligned or misaligned doesn't matter, but they're going to be the same alignment as the blocks already are. Alright, next is B. So for getting this into P, it's pretty simple. You just do NN, preserving the blocks. And you get P. So it's misaligned, it's going to get the block in the front. If it's like this, aligned, and do NN, it will get the block in the back. So for getting this into K and S, for K, obviously you would hold them with the headlights in front and do JJ. And then the block alignment would be exact same as whatever the alignment of the B perm was. For getting this into K, you'd hold it with the block in front like this. Not like this, not in a way that's connected with the corner, but in a way that's separate from the headlights in front. And do JJ from here. And you'd get KK with the block alignment exactly the same as the B. So next there's D. So for D, For getting into P, you would hold the block in front like this, highlights on the side, and do JJ from here. If you do that, you'll get the block in front for the P. You can also do it alternatively with a use of D2 like this, with a block in the back. Preserve the blocks obviously, and you would still get the block in front. Now if it's misaligned blocks, you can do the same thing. If the block's in front, you can do this with JJ and get the P perm, but submit the blocks in the back. Do the same thing with this angle, JJ from here. You would still get the block in the back, but you would also get a P perm. For getting into S, it's also pretty simple. You hold the headlights in front obviously, but it's going to be a bit counterintuitive. You're not going to preserve the blocks, you're going to align it so you don't preserve the blocks. The preservation of the blocks are going to be the exact same. So if it's misaligned here, it's going to be misaligned here. But for the actual J perm, you're going to hold it so that you don't preserve the blocks. For the K perm, it's also a bit counterintuitive. You're going to hold it so the blocks in the back, and you're going to misalign the layer. Something like this. And do JJ from here. The alignment of the blocks of the K are going to be the exact same as those of the D. So here they're aligned, and even though we misalign the layer, the alignment is still going to be aligned for the K. So next there's P perms. First we're getting P into P, and for this you're going to have a bunch of blocks on the puzzle, but you're going to have two pieces with no blocks. So what we're going to do is NN here, but you're going to break up these two pieces. So NN like this, and yeah. And if you notice, the P is going to have the block in front. That's going to get you another P with block in front. So it gives you the same P perm. So even if it's in back, misalign it so you break up these two pieces, and then it would still keep the block in back for the P perm. For getting into S, obviously you put the headlights in front. Instead of breaking up these pieces, you're going to actually preserve these pieces. So like this, and then you're going to do the JJ, and then you would get SS. And so the alignment of the block is going to be exact same of what you're holding it as. So if you're going to misalign the layers to preserve the block, you're going to get misaligned blocks. Lastly for this one, for getting into KK, it's going to be a bit counterintuitive. You're going to hold the block in front like this, and you're going to break up these three pieces, so like something like this, and hold the headlights to your right. And for here, you would do JJ from here. And so the alignment of the blocks are the exact same as that which you have held it at. So if you aligned it, JJ would give you K with aligned blocks. So if the blocks are in front for the P perm, you do the exact same way. You hold the headlights to the side, and you're going to break up these three pieces like this and do JJ. And the alignment of the blocks of the K perm are exactly the same of that which you have held it at. So next there's M perms. So for these, getting into S, you hold the headlights in front obviously. You would do JJ from here. That gives you a S with alignment of the block opposite of that which you have held it at. So if you hold it like misaligned, you get blocks that are aligned. For getting this into K, you would just do an N perm, so something like this, and you get K, and alignment of the blocks is the exact same as before. So if you hold it so that it's aligned, you can get misaligned blocks. If you misalign it and do NN, you get aligned blocks. So it's the opposite of that which you've held it at. So next there's W perms. So these are pretty simple. Getting this into S, you just do an N perm. And that gets you into S, and the block alignment is going to be opposite of that which you have held it at. So if it's aligned, you get misaligned blocks. If it's misaligned, you get aligned blocks. For getting them into K, you're going to hold the opposites here in the front left. So you have them in front, you're going to separate them by the slice, and you're going to do JJ. and you get K with the opposite alignment of blocks. And if you hold it like this to the right of the slice, front and right, and you're gonna have to divide them with the slice and not hold it like this because it's going to preserve them together, but you're gonna break them up, JJ, and then you get K with opposite alignment of slices. So it's the same exact idea. If you hold it misaligned, you get aligned blocks. If you align it, you get misaligned blocks. So the final possible case you can do this with is C. And for getting this to S, what you're gonna do is you're gonna notice the blocks with opposites. So if opposite pairs here, 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 hold the headlights in front, preserve those opposite blocks, and then do JJ. And then you get S. The alignment of the S is gonna be opposite of the way you have held it. So if you have aligned it, you get misaligned blocks, and if the blocks happen to be the other way, misaligned, you'll get aligned blocks. Getting this into K, you'd hold it so that you have the opposite pairs again. You're gonna hold it in front. There's two opposite pairs, so you're gonna find the one that's not connected to the headlights, which would be these ones. You would preserve them, and then you would do JJ. And I'll give you KK. And again, the block alignment is going to be opposite of the way you held it. So if it's misaligned, you get aligned blocks. And the other way around, if it happens to be aligned, you would get misaligned blocks. Alright, to end this video off, I'll do some example solves with this PBL technique. First off with this one, PW. For W, I could do N to get into S. And for P, I could do N to get into P, so I can get PS. The reason I'm not doing NJ is because it's gonna be much longer, 5 slices instead of 3. So I'm just gonna do NN instead. So I'm gonna hold the P so it breaks up this block. W doesn't matter. So NN goes straight into the PS. Next is this one, OP, and then B. So obviously you can just do OP and then J. But for this method, you can hold it left to right to get a P on top. For bottom, preserve the blocks, and hold the headlights in front to get S, so PS. And then you can just solve it like this. And then bar flip. So here's two more. CW. So this one, you can't really get a P, so I'm gonna go for an SS. So for both of these, it's going to give you a layer alignment that's opposite of that which is held. So since I want opposite layer alignment on top and bottom, I'm going to have to misalign the W and align the C for this opposite pair. So I have to do J here and then N here to get S and S. I have to misalign this in order to have opposite alignments. So as you can see, I have opposite alignment. So here's the last one. We have M and then C. So again, we're gonna force the SS. For here, we have to preserve this. For this, it could be held this or this way. Anyway, to get an S. And they're both gonna give opposite alignments. So we have to misalign the M in order to get good SS. And then JJ here. And then we need to do SS. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope it's helpful.